Hello guys and welcome to another GizChina Germany review. Today we are going to have a look at the No.1 Sun S2, which is one of the most popular smartwatches coming from China right now. As you probably know, I previously tested the Zeaplus DM360, which was pretty good, yet a bit more expensive than the No.1 Sun S2, the latter one being currently priced at about 50 to 60 bucks. So let's get right into the review to figure out if this wearable is anything better or actually worse than the Zeaplus DM360. So what you see here right in front of the camera are all the accessories you get with the No.1 Sun S2. It gets delivered in this cubic box and comes with a charging dock along a micro USB cable, a quick start guide, and a pack of replacement plungers for the straps you wanna use on the watch. Design-wise, I've developed kind of a love-hate relationship with the No.1 Sun S2. The build quality isn't bad at all, and I also like the look and feel. At least if you are into rather extravagant watches, you should like the design and the look and feel as well. There are a few things that seriously disturb me though. For one part, that's that the watch isn't made from metal entirely, like No.1 wants you to make you believe. Actually, the stylized sun, which is laid on top around the screen, is made from chrome-plated plastic, which will eventually lose its metal finish from some time in the future, and you know, that will just look outright ugly, at least in my opinion. Another thing I seriously dislike is the thickness of the watch. It's about 1.5 centimeters, which is a lot thicker than the Zeaplus DM360, and I really don't need to tell you that it takes a while to get used to that, in case you actually are willing to get used to that at all. You also notice that in terms of the watch's weight, which is pretty high. So let's continue with a look at the watch's strap. So as you can see here, I've attached a leather strap to it, which I got with the watch for review purposes, but out of the box it came with this metal strap. Actually, I removed this one right away since it's way too large. You have to remove some segments of it before it actually fits, and well, that isn't quite easy and should be done by a watchmaker, which costs a few bucks obviously. Anyway, the build quality of the metal band isn't quite nice, so it just doesn't feel good, which is why I prefer the leather band over the metal band anyway. The leather band actually features a really nice quality, and I'm pretty sure this is real leather, as No.1 claims it to be, yet I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so far it doesn't show any signs of usage traces, and also survived some contact with water already, so that's kind of the perfect strap for this watch. In case you want to replace the straps, you simply do so by pushing out this plunger inside of there using a thin needle. That takes a few minutes to be done for the first time, so don't give up. If you don't manage to do that right away, it will need a few tries. Next, let's have a look at the watch's screen, and regarding the panel quality, I've been very impressed here. Initially, I thought they use an OLED panel on there, but quickly was proven wrong after looking at the spec sheet once again. The reason I believed this is an OLED panel simply is the intensity of colors, the contrast, and the brightness. Let me tell you, they are using a very good LCD panel on there, actually better than the one used on the Zeaplus DM360. That's quite surprising considering the price tag of this watch. Anyway, amazing stops right after the panel, since No.1 did a few no-goes there. First of all, the screen is covered by plastic instead of glass, which doesn't only increase the chances of scratches, but also decreases the smoothness factor a lot when you use the touchscreen with your finger. As if that wouldn't be enough already, they also screwed up the touch panel, which isn't sensitive enough, plus is inaccurate and can't get along with water drops. For a smartwatch, that's kind of the worst touch panel you could possibly go for as a manufacturer. and that alone basically renders the watch unusable. Now obviously they could do a lot by offering a proper piece of software on the watch, but Chinese wouldn't be Chinese obviously if they wouldn't screw it up here once again. There are numerous parts about the No.1 Sun S2's operating system I seriously disliked during more than 2 weeks of testing. Let's start right with the watch faces. The watch face you see right now is my favorite one since it perfectly fits the leather strap in my opinion. Yet I often face a different watch face than this one. You wonder why? Well, the reason is that you switch watch faces with one single tap. So that means if you accidentally press your finger or any other body part onto the watch display, the watch face will be changed. And well, is pretty much nonsense, I think, and a bad joke and a serious disadvantage compared to the Zeaplus DM360, where you have to press your finger onto the watch face for a few seconds and then are presented with a selection interface and only then can change the watch face. What I also dislike, as you have seen right now, is that the number of watch faces is very limited. You have to choose from only 3 types of watch faces, which I'm sure isn't enough to meet all tastes out there. So the next thing I don't quite get is what happens after unlocking the watch, which is done by swiping your fingers across the watch face. Instead of facing the main menu immediately, you land on some strange home screen displaying the time and date once again along some shortcut icons and information regarding the battery level and connection state on the top. Well, some might like that, but I actually don't, since to me that is just one unnecessary step in between me and the main menu. I would have appreciated at least the option to disable this home screen to finally get to the main menu. I need to swipe once more and finally I am there. So the main menu itself is structured quite nicely and logically in my opinion. The first page, as you can see, contains all the icons to drop a phone call, which is a nice thing. All the other features are placed among the following pages and include the Bluetooth settings, a remote notifier, a remote camera tool for your phone, an anti-loss feature, settings, the pedometer, a sleep monitor, a sedentary reminder, quick response, alerts, a calculator, profiles for your audio settings, a file manager, an audio player, applications for the integrated camera to take pictures and videos. We also have an image and video viewer. We also have an audio recorder, a heart rate sensor application, and some fake applications here, a feature for power saving mode, a stopwatch, and one fake UV measurement tool. So that's quite a lot for such a cheap smartwatch. But, well, as I said, there are a lot of fake features, and that includes the thermometer, the ECG feature, and the UV sensor of the watch. Especially the latter one being fake is a shocking thing to me, since trusting a fake UV level can potentially lead to health damage, let's face it. That ain't funny at all in my opinion. The UV level displayed there actually directly relates to the time set on the smartwatch, and well, there isn't any UV sensor at all. You definitely should know that. But those fake features aren't the only useless features, since most of the other features are quite unusable as well, despite not being a fake. The pedometer, for example, is one of them. You actually cannot set your weight and body size within this app, which means that the statistics it displays, which you can see here, are kinda useless. Also, you cannot sync the statistics with the Fundu application that can connect with the No.1 Sun S2 and comes with it. For some reasons, the statistics just don't get synced there, despite it potentially would be supported. That's another pretty sad thing in my opinion. The next thing that doesn't work very well on the No.1 Sun S2 is doing phone calls. Sure thing, using a smartwatch as a hands-free solution is a very neat thing, but only if it works well. And exactly that's not the case with the No.1 Sun S2. You indeed can accept and drop phone calls without taking your phone out of your pocket, but that's it already. Neither the microphone is good enough to make your interlocutor understand you flawlessly, nor is the speaker of the watch loud enough so that you could hear anything in noisy environments. And, well, if that wouldn't be enough already, the person you talk with can hear himself after he finished talking. Well, that's absolutely unusable and just like a toy or something, but nothing for everyday's life. Next feature that doesn't work out really well is the integrated camera of the No.1 Sun S2. Well, it works, but unfortunately it isn't quite useful, since first of all the pictures are very small at a resolution of 640 by 480 pixels and do not show much details at all. Also, the sensor isn't aligned properly in the center of the fake crown where it is hidden. So you see some blurred frame around every picture you take with the watch. And another thing that prevents this from being anything useful is the internal memory, which is way too small for this feature. You can only take like 5 pictures and the internal memory is full, so that's again not really useful at all. So in the end, the only usable features of the No.1 Sun S2 are its heart rate sensor, the watch feature, and displaying notifications from your phone. But do you really need a smartwatch for such features? No, you probably don't. So what's up with battery life? Well, the battery lasts about a day on average, but never more. Sometimes it just lasts half a day as well, so it really depends on how often you use the watch and what's going on with your notifications on the particular day. Anyway, in my opinion, a smartwatch should last at least 2 days, which the Zeaplus DM360 did, for example, and this one doesn't. One of the main reasons for this is the lack of Bluetooth LE. The No.1 Sun S2 actually still runs on Bluetooth 3.0, and well, that has the benefit of the watch being compatible with older phones, but it really sucks. The battery empty in no time, and not only of the watch but also of your phone. Charging the battery also takes pretty long, at about 2 hours, which is a bad joke considering that it only has a 350 milliamps battery. So what's my final conclusion about the No.1 Sun S2? Well, it's just for the looks. Those not demanding anything from a Chinese smartwatch and just want to have something that looks nice might enjoy the No.1 Sun S2, but anyone else who needs a smartwatch that actually works and is a useful gadget is wrong here. Those should take a few more bucks into their hands and get the Zeaplus DM360 or up the budget to 199 bucks and get themselves the Asus Zen watch, which actually runs Android Wear. So that's it for my review of the No.1 Sun S2. I hope you enjoyed it and that it was helpful for you. If it was, don't hesitate to leave a thumbs up and a subscription to the channel. If there are any questions left, make sure to drop them into the comments area. In case you like what we are doing at GizChina Germany, make sure to follow us over at Facebook, Google+, and Twitter as well. Thanks for watching, bye, and see you soon with more.